Hello everyone, welcome to English class. Today we are going to have a quick discussion on the poem We Are Going, written by Oodgeroo Noonuccal. At the outset, let's look at who Oodgeroo Noonuccal is. Oodgeroo Noonuccal, who was born in 1920 and died in 1993, is also known as Kath Walker. She was not only a poet but also an Aboriginal rights activist. She was born to Edward Ruska and Lucy as Kathleen Jean Mary Ruska, and her father belonged to Noonuccal tribe. They are the traditional inhabitants of Minchiriba. Minchiriba is actually the Aboriginal name of Stradbroke Island in Queensland, Australia. So, Oodgeroo Noonuccal is an Australian Aboriginal poet. She adopted the traditional name Oodgeroo Noonuccal in 1988 in solidarity with her tribe, that's Noonuccal tribe, and also by stripping the label given by invading forces. So the English name that she had, that's Keith Walker, is actually a colonial name. So she stripped of the name and adopted um, her Aboriginal name, that's Oodgeroo Noonuccal, of which the surname is actually a reference to her tribe. So now let's look at a sort of an introduction to the poem We Are Going that was published in 1960. The poem deals with the themes of colonization and its byproducts such as oppression, dispossession, and cultural disinheritance. Actually, what happened to the colonized people, the aboriginals, the original inhabitants of a particular land. And if you look at the poem, you will find that the poem was written in a melancholic tone, as which is actually describing the coming, undesired, unwanted, uninvited arrival of the white settlers, to be specific, the British settlers, and the eroding of the Aboriginal ways, their history, their culture, their custom, their living, everything. The colonial masters, the white settlers, they snatched their land and they made it their garbage, dumping ground, and also stripped the aboriginals, the natives, of their customs, their beliefs, their everything. And as a matter of fact, what happened to the aboriginals is that they became completely total strangers to the land, the new land, which has been completely made upside down by the colonial masters. Hence, the poem We Are Going, written by Oodgeroo Noonuccal, paints the laws of land, tradition, laws of culture, laws of customs. So now let's quickly go to the poem written by Oodgeroo Noonuccal. So, as I already told you, the poem actually tells us, describes the destructive nature of colonialism, what actually happens to the Aboriginal people. The setting of the poem is obviously, as I already told you, Aboriginal Australian identity and their experience. So, let's go to the poem. They came into the little town, a semi-naked band subdued and silent all that remained of their tribe. They came into the little town. So who are they here? They are the Aboriginals. They came into the little town, the Aboriginals. Now they are actually paying a visit to the little town. They are a semi-naked band, subdued and silent all that remained of their tribe. And if there are anyone who are still remaining in the town, they are silent. That means they are voiceless. Their voice has been oppressed. They do not have any voice. And also, if you look at the word semi-naked, which is also a reference to, colonial gaze, you must have heard of, different gaze like, male gaze and all that, right? So this is a hegemonic gaze, a colonial gaze where they look at, the aboriginals as, semi-naked, less civilized, as well as less human, right? So an implied reference to colonial gazes also can also be traced in the land. And they came here to the place of their old Bora ground, where now the many white men hurry about like ants. So the aboriginals again, they came here to the place of their old Bora ground. So Bora ground is actually a place where the indigenous Australians, or the native Australians, or the Aboriginals conduct their initiation ceremonies, coming of age ceremonies. Every religion or every culture, every belief has a process of, initiation, uh, which is considered to be a sort of a reborn or I mean, even our voting right is also sort of an initiation, right? Like we are coming of age that, you know, you are entitled to um, take part in the electoral process of a particular country can also be considered to be, in a way, an initiation, or circumcision, right? Is considered to be a initiation, right? So every culture has their own initiation ceremony. So Bora ground was actually used to be a sacred place for the Aboriginals, since they would conduct their initiation ceremonies there. But where or the Bora ground, what we find now is the white men who are, hurrying about like ants. Notice of the estate agents reads, rubbish may be tipped here. Now it half covers the traces of the old Bora ring. So notice of the estate agent. Estate agents means those who own, you know, the property. Rubbish may be tipped here. So it has actually become what? A dumping place for the white settlers, the colonial masters, the Britishers. Now it half covers the traces of the old Bora ring. That means a sacred site for indigenous Australians, where initiation ceremonies for indigenous males were held. We are as strangers here now, but the white tribe are the strangers. We belong here. We are of the old ways. So this particular line is the statement that the poem is actually making. We are the strangers. We are as the strangers here now. We have come here as the strangers, even though the place used to be our place. But now we are strangers. But the strong statement that the poem makes is that it's not we. Instead, the white tribe are the real strangers, right? They are the ones who came from, you know, outside. We actually belong here. We are of the old ways. The rest of the poem actually tells us that how um, the Aboriginals or the Noonuccal tribe are the real Australians. So the poet says, we are the corroboree, and burial ground. We are the old ceremonies, the laws of the elders, everything of the land are we ourselves, not the whites, not the Britishers, not the settlers, not the colonial masters. That's what the poet is actually trying to say. And in the coming part of the poem, what we get to see is we are the wonder tales of dream time, the tribal legends told. So we are the wonder tales of dream time. So that's about the legends of the tribal belief that dream time actually refers to the beginning of time. So the story is about, the beginning of time, beginning of this particular world in which we live. We are the wonder tales of those stories, those legends. We are the past, the hunts, the laughing games, the wandering campfires. We are the lightning bolt over Gaffamba Hill, quick and terrible, and the thunder after him, that loud fellow. We are the quiet daybreak paling the dark lagoon. So we are everything. We are part of the nature of, that particular place, Australia. It's not them. It's not the whites. It's not the colonial masters. It's not the settlers. Instead, we aboriginals are the real Australians. We are the real people who have actually part of the nature of this particular land. So these are the strong statements. So throughout these lines, what we get to see is that the poet is actually saying that we are part of nature. The power of the land is we ourselves, not the outsiders, not the settlers. So the power, I mean, if you look at Gaffamba Hill Creek and terrible, the word terrible actually stands for power, right? And the past, all the emotions, everything is we ourselves. We are the shadow ghost creeping back as the campfires burn low. We are nature and the past, all the old ways gone now and scattered. The scrubs are gone, the hunting and the laughter, everything. So we are the shadow ghost creeping back as campfire burn low. We are nature and the past, always gone now and scattered. The scrubs are gone, the hunting and the laughter. The eagle is gone, the emu and the kangaroo are gone from this place. The Bora ring is gone, the Koraboro is gone, and we are going. So actually what happened with colonialism, everything what is considered to be, part of the land, part of the, tribe is gone. So their hunting, their laughter, their sacred places, their initiation, rites, everything is gone. The emu is, and kangaroo means you must have heard, right? Like when you listen to the cricket as well as other sports games, you must have or games you must have listened to the commentaries where Australians are called kangaroos, right? So emu and kangaroo are all like very much part of the Australian culture. Likewise, the Aboriginals. But what happened now is like everything that is related to the Aboriginals is gone because everything is made upside down by the colonial masters, right? And we are going. So we do not, belong here anymore. We are expelled. So this is actually, this is uh, actually what happens with colonialism. That's what this particular poem is showing. So have a look at the poem. The poem is basically about the colonialism and the displacement, dispossession that actually happened to the actual people of the land, the aboriginals. and they were expelled from their land by the colonial masters, and now they occupy the land. Along with the expulsion of the Aboriginals, what happened to the land was the indigenous culture, indigenous belief, indigenous traditions of the land is also gone, and we are also going. So that's what the poem is all about. Please have a look at, read the poem, and also have a look at, the questions that's given on page number 14 and 15 of our text, where, there are certain questions like what is Bora Ring, what is dream time, which is actually explained in the text. Please refer the text. What are the main themes discussed? I also already told you. What did the colonizers do to the native people? Who are the native people? How are the white men represented, and why? All these questions, please have a look at these questions and try to find out the answers. So that's it for the day. Thank you. Bye bye.